Hello, this is David Birch at Star Path School of Navigation in Seattle with a report on the progress and the situation of Jacob Adram as he rows across the Pacific Ocean to Australia. And he has, and I want to bring up, we had a lot going on right now, and he's facing one of the biggest challenges of the whole event, all 8,500 miles that he's gone. He has a big challenge in front of him. And I'll show you the situation. And if we back up here to about this day, whatever this day was in here, you see this was like May 17. So that is like 4 days ago. And things were going along pretty well. And at that point, the plan was that this was the desired route, to come down here. This is about 18 degrees of 30 minutes, and then come up inside here. Now, one of the new things I've added, and I will add more, is I can now add the actual official nautical charts from Australia, so you can see the challenges that he has here. So the plan is come up here, and this is still the plan. But things have changed a little bit back earlier, and he's got some work to do. And so here we're coming up here and coming into this Flora Pass like that, and then come up here, down through there, and into here, maybe anticipating spending the night here, and then coming down into Cairns the next day. Okay, so that was the situation, and things were running pretty well, and he had gotten, this big drive to the south here like this came about on the backside of a tropical, actually we would call it a hurricane or a tropical storm. It's called Tropical Cyclone Ann. It was not a cyclone very long officially, but it lasted. It was strong winds, 60, 70 knots of wind at one point. But it didn't come right up to him, but it came along a distance from him. And down here, the wind's going around the lows this way, down there. And so he was on the back side of this thing the whole time and got this beautiful push to the south, which is critical because, let's take a look. Let me diverge here and look at, say, May 16. Here's what the prevailing winds look like in that area. Prevailing winds are sort of strong, 15 plus knots, 15, 20 knots out of the southeast. These are the southeast trades. And so they're normally, look at this kind of green, they're normally 14, 15. And they should be that right now. Look up here, first part of May. This still should be the same, 14 or 15. Well, that's not at all what he was having. After that storm went by, these trades filled in at a solid 20 to 25 knots, sometimes hitting 30 knots. And so he's had these very strong winds from the southeast, which have been very difficult to fight. If you look here, let's see what the BOM winds look like on this page. Covered that. And by the way, there's a new KML file. So if you go to the main blog where we're following this, you can download this new KML to put here several things that are new. I'm looking for the BOM winds. That's usually a nice way to look at this. Let me shut all those off and look at right now. So you see, here's what the deal is. And he's been dealing with this solid 20, 25. These are actually, remember, these two things here can be size 22.5, but he's had really honest 25 knots and sometimes hitting 30. And if you look here, going the next day, now, our model shows this going down by Friday, so it lightens up a little bit on Friday. See this down to 15. Now, that's going to be a key issue here. But anyway, so that's what the issue has been. The issue has been, how is he going to get south? Because he's fighting that. He's got a big boat, almost 30 feet, and it's very difficult to row anywhere against the wind. And with this wind coming out this way, and he's trying to go this way, he's really fighting it. He's really fighting it. Now, The other two factors that complicate the present issue is he had a while ago lost his drogue, and now yesterday or this morning, I forget the time now, yesterday maybe, the sea anchor, his big parachute sea anchor, which he counts on for resting. When he wants to rest, he can put out that sea anchor, and that keeps him from drifting. Or it slows down the drift quite a bit because it's dragging like a sea anchor. It's an anchor. And so the wind doesn't blow him very much. And so the wind's blowing this way, which is not the way he wants to go. And so without that sea anchor, though, it's a lot more of a problem. And so he's now without a drogue or sea anchor, and his main challenge is to get around this reef. So of all these 8,500 miles that have accumulated so far, now we've got the real problem: get around this reef. And you see here he's fighting the very best he can against these winds, and he's making good almost due west. And if you look here, due west is not quite enough to make it. Now, all right, so let's look a little bit more about what's going on. If you average these speeds like in here, well, actually these are two latest ones, but I average them from like these four, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are an hour apart. Then you can go and, you can put this thing on here and drag it back here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, and you get, oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. 1, 2, 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. I knew it was about 6 miles, 6.4. Okay, so that was something like that. And then divide that by 4, and you see he's making good about 1.6 knots. And 1.6 knots. Now, this is probably averaging the same thing here, but now it's cranked up a little bit. This angle here, every little bit of angle to the north here is crucial. And so that's what we have a lot to watch here in the next few days. And let's look at something here as more analyses. Where are the currents up here? Ocean currents and ocean currents. And let me look at the RTOFs here. And if you look at this, you notice something very interesting. It's compelling almost. Here's the latest RTOFs model. And you see his path here. So he's fighting the wind. But it looks like he can't fight the current. You see, if you look here, the current's coming down this way. Here's his route, and here's the current. Its route's almost identically following that current. So it could well be that his progress is very susceptible to that current. And if you look at these speeds, and you can do that, turn on the scale and, bring this down here and so forth. This current's in the real light areas about like, 0.3 or something, not much. But anytime you get into this kind of blue, you're looking at almost, over half a knot. And when you figure a boat is going like full speed rowing is 1.5, then you got half a knot's a big number. So, all right, now, so there's there's a situation, and there's the problem, and that's a challenge. So this is the RTOFs. Now this is projected ahead. This May 21st. That's still today. But I'll show you in a minute. We can look at the currents live. And so when you look at this voyage here, the currents are actually from this point on favorable. They're not big rocket ship rides like this of 2 knots. This is 2 knots in here. But they're like 0.5, 0.7 knots in the right direction. So that would correspond to kind of like this. So there is hope here that the current's going to help. Now, that's a step 1. In step 2, let's look at the wind forecast. And here's the latest, and I'm using a model here, FV3 GFS. That's the new generation of the GFS model, which will be switched over. The standard GFS will be switched to this new model on June the 12th. June the 12th, when you load GFS, you're going to get FV3 GFS automatically. There are a lot of implications to that, and I'll put some posts and blogs about it. Okay, so here's the route we were originally trying to follow. He's not going to follow that, so I'm in LuckGrib that lets me do all kinds of tricks. So I can just draw a line in here, like the direction. He's making good about 264 true. 264 true. So I just draw a line in here, 264 true, and then I can go back into the preferences of LuckGrib, and I set that to his average speed here, 1.6, like that. And then I can simply add, and so here's right now. You see that red button is a right now this moment. And then if I bring this forward, there's the boat moving at 1.6 knots, and there's two of them moving. One is the boat's following the route because the route's still engaged, the ideal route. Plus, it's following this little magic temporary route that I've inserted here. LuckGrib has a lot of tools for this kind of planning. And so what it's doing then is putting that boat in the right place as I go along here. And you see, when we get into Friday, it's just, look at that. Okay, you got to come in here. Now, okay, so we're going to show another. Oh, did I ruin my. Oh, I did. Okay, hang on just a minute. Let me just put this back like this. Okay. I should somehow lock it. Now, you see, when I go along there, when I get to Friday, you see the wind is getting a little bit lighter. It's 15. This other wind back here, if you look where he's in right now, where do we read the wind? On the top right, 20 knots, 20. You know, this is all solid 20, 22, 20, like that. But let's look at another trick. Let me just put this right here. Let me go back and put this to the real time right now. So that's the real time. And then what I want to do is go up and click on the measure. I'm going to click a meteogram. Okay, so there we go. Friday. Oh, I'm not doing this right. Let me actually, I'm going to cancel that. Let me just do it on the boat itself, going this way, and do a meteogram there. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so here's the thing we've got to look at. You see the wind is... actually, I'm going to pause the video and come back here. This is a little bit... I've got to figure out what I'm looking at. This is a little bit different than what I looked at just a minute ago, and I don't think anything updated. So I'm going to pause the video for 1 second and come right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm not sure what I was looking at. I had too many routes and options going along. But I've made a new route. Now, instead of just having that random line, which is something you can set up fast, I set up a route and it's actually trying to follow right now, and that's this one. It's even optimistic. It's got a slope to the south, even if we might end up going due west. But anyway, here's the route, and here's where the boat is right now. And the idea is, what does this wind look like over the next, if he progresses along here 1.6 knots, what's the wind look like? And so here is that picture. Here is that picture right here. So you see, here's the rest of today, and he's been right just below 20, then towards the overnight just above 20, right at 20. And you see this angle of the wind sort of east-southeast. And then Tuesday there's a little dip, a little break there. And then Wednesday's going to be a tough day. He's got another tough day Wednesday. He's got 25 knots of wind. And also look at this, for the time being, it's gone back to the southeast. Now, Thursday, there's a backing to the wind. It hasn't cut down yet, but it's backed a little bit. It's backed around more to the east. That makes it a little easier for him to turn a little left to the south. But then starting, here's what everybody's counting on right now, is that this is going to pan out that on Friday it goes a little lighter. This is down to like, what's this wind speed here? Here's 15. It's just 15 to 17, but it's anyway lighter. And it's staying lighter here for a while. And so that's the big hope. That's the huge hope at the moment, that those trades do lighten up on Friday. So now every 6 hours, we're looking at the maps and looking at the forecast to see if that pans out. And that's going to be crucial. And so you can come back then. Oh, I'm going to show you something else here. Oh, what happened to my ocean? Okay, here it is. All right, here is this. Okay, so, okay, that's that. Let me shut off the currents. Okay, so you see here, due west is not going to work, right? This is, if you zoom in here, there's no way, you don't go up here and anchor, right? You'd be, maybe if you, I don't know what you do. This is just reef, coral reef. So this is all not very nice area. Now he does, of course, have an anchor. He does have an anchor, and if he gets into anything close, like into here, or you can judge by looking at the waves and things like that. But like something like this, he could probably just anchor, something like that if it came up in there. But it's the best thing by far, of course, is to get down around this corner. And I'm going to stop there to show you. So here's what we're watching for in the next day by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Every day, checking to see how's he getting down around this corner. And I'll come back later to discuss the charts. And also this fantastic, let's see, can I just click this? Yeah. There's also this fantastic service of being able to look at these Australian charts on the internet. I'll come back to that. That's a whole new story. It's really an amazing service I just discovered. I had no idea about it. So we'll come back to that.